A 69-year-old man named Robert woke up on a Thursday feeling completely normal. No chest tightness, no dizziness, nothing out of the ordinary. He felt good. So he did exactly what he did every morning, swung his legs over the side of the bed, walked straight to the bathroom, and turned the shower knob all the way to cold. He'd seen it on a health podcast. Said it was great for circulation. 18 minutes later, his daughter called 911. I was the cardiologist on call that day. And I can tell you, what happened to Robert was not bad luck. It was not a freak event. It was a series of small, everyday mistakes that millions of people over 60 make every single morning without the faintest idea they're doing it. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what those mistakes are and, more importantly, what to do instead. Because this information could quite literally save your life. So let's start here. Why is the morning actually dangerous? Research published in the American Heart Journal shows that heart attacks are roughly 40% more likely to occur between 6 and 10 in the morning than at any other point in the day. 40%. That's not a rounding error. That's a pattern cardiologists have been documenting for decades. We even have a clinical name for it, the morning surge. And if you're over 60, that surge hits your body harder, faster, and with far less room for error than it did 20 years ago. Here's why. While you sleep, your body runs in a kind of quiet, low-power state. Heart rate slows. Blood pressure drops. Your nervous system rests. But the moment your body begins waking up, even before your eyes open, everything starts shifting into high gear simultaneously. Think of it like starting a cold engine on a winter morning and immediately flooring the gas pedal. The engine isn't ready. The oil hasn't warmed. And you're already demanding full speed. Now add a few habits most people think are perfectly healthy, and you've got the conditions for a cardiac emergency. Here's something most people your age don't know. Your stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline don't wait for your alarm to go off. They start climbing about an hour before you even wake up. Your body is literally preparing you for the day while you're still in deep sleep. By the time your eyes open, those hormones are surging. And together, they do 3 things to your heart almost instantly. 1. Your heart rate jumps. 2. Your blood pressure rises. 3. Your blood vessels constrict. All of that within seconds. At 35, your cardiovascular system handles that without breaking a sweat. The vessels are flexible. The heart adapts quickly. But after 60, the vessel walls are stiffer. Adaptation slows down. And there may be small deposits of plaque build up inside your arteries. Plaque you don't know about because you feel completely fine. When that hormonal wave hits a vessel with a vulnerable plaque, the force can crack it. A cracked plaque triggers clotting. And a clot in a coronary artery, that's a heart attack. That's not a worst-case scenario. That's the mechanism. That's what I've seen firsthand. So before you've had a single sip of coffee, your heart is already working harder than it was an hour ago. What you do in the next 5 minutes either supports it or pushes it over the edge. Here's the first thing to ask yourself right now. Do you know what your blood pressure is first thing in the morning? If the answer is no, that's the very first thing to change. Here's one that surprises almost everyone I tell it to. After 7 or 8 hours of sleep, you are mildly dehydrated every single morning. No exceptions. You haven't had a drop of water all night. You've been breathing, and every breath releases moisture from your body. The result? By the time you wake up, your blood is measurably thicker than it was when you fell asleep. Let me give you an image. Picture your heart as a water pump and your arteries as garden hoses. When the water flowing through those hoses is thin and moving freely, the pump barely has to work. But when that water thickens, when it becomes more like syrup, the pump has to push much harder to move the same amount. And thicker blood doesn't just tax your heart. It clots more easily. Research has confirmed that clotting factors are at their peak activity in the early morning hours. This is not a coincidence. It's one of the key reasons heart attacks and strokes cluster so heavily in that 6 to 10 window. It's the hormone surge, plus the thick blood, plus the stiff vessels, all arriving at once. A triple threat for any heart over 60. The fix? Almost embarrassingly simple. A full glass of room temperature water before anything else. Before coffee. Before your phone. Before your medication. Hydrate first. It's one of the lowest effort, highest impact habits you can build. And most people never do it consistently. Tonight, before you go to sleep, put a glass of water on your nightstand. Make it the easiest decision you've ever made. Now, I want to talk about something that's become extremely popular over the last few years: cold showers. Social media is full of people jumping into ice baths at 5 in the morning, talking about willpower and resilience. And I'll be honest, cold exposure does have real, documented benefits. I won't pretend otherwise. But here's what those videos never tell you. And it matters enormously if you're over 60. The moment cold water hits your skin, your body triggers what's called the cold shock response. Blood vessels near the surface of your skin constrict instantly to protect your core temperature. Your heart rate spikes, and your blood pressure can shoot up sometimes 20 to 30 points in a matter of seconds. Now think about where your body already is at that moment. The morning hormone surge is already pushing your pressure up. Your blood is already thicker than normal. And now you're adding a sudden, sharp vascular constriction on top of all of that. For a healthy 30-year-old, the body adjusts. For someone 65 with some arterial stiffness, that spike can be the trigger. It can crack a plaque. It can cause a coronary spasm. It can provoke a dangerous arrhythmia. Robert, the man I told you about at the beginning of this video, the cold shower was his trigger. His arteries weren't in terrible shape, but in the context of everything else happening in his body that morning, the cold shock was simply too much. So what do I recommend instead? Start warm, around body temperature, 98 or 99 degrees. Let your body ease into the transition. If you love cold water at the end, save it for the last 30 seconds of your shower. By that point, your vessels have had time to dilate, your pressure has had time to stabilize, and the shock response is far less severe. One small adjustment. Big difference for your heart. What comes next might be the thing you've been getting wrong your entire adult life. Let me ask you something. How do you get out of bed in the morning? Be honest. Most people go from lying flat to standing in about 2 seconds. Alarm goes off, feet hit the floor, and they're moving. I completely understand, there's a lot to do. But that rapid transition is one of the most overlooked cardiac stressors in older adults. Here's the physiology. When you're lying down, blood is distributed relatively evenly throughout your body. The second you stand up, gravity immediately pulls a significant volume of blood down toward your legs and abdomen. Your heart has to respond instantly, constricting vessels, increasing its rate to maintain adequate blood pressure to your brain. In a younger person, that reflex is fast and efficient. In adults over 60, it slows down. The vessels don't respond as quickly as they used to. We call this orthostatic hypotension. Blood pressure can drop 15, 20, sometimes 30 points within seconds of standing. That dizzy, gray, foggy feeling when you get up too fast? A lot of people over 60 experience that and assume it's just part of aging. It isn't. It's a warning signal from your cardiovascular system. And the consequences go beyond feeling lightheaded. Orthostatic hypotension is one of the leading causes of falls in older adults. And a serious fall at 65 can set off a chain of events that becomes genuinely life-threatening. For someone with any underlying heart condition, that sudden pressure drop forces the heart to compensate hard, spiking rate and output in seconds. In a vulnerable heart, that spike can trigger an arrhythmia. In severe cases, it can precipitate a cardiac event. The solution costs you nothing. Just a few extra seconds. Before you stand, sit first. Sit on the edge of the bed for a full minute. Let your feet hang. Rotate your ankles. Let gravity do its work gradually rather than all at once. Let your blood pressure adjust before your heart goes from 0 to 60. 10 seconds lying. 30 seconds sitting. Then stand slowly. That transition can prevent a fall, prevent an arrhythmia, and possibly something far worse. I've seen it go both ways. I know which side of that I want you on. Now I want to ask you something personal. Are you currently taking a blood pressure medication or a diuretic, sometimes called a water pill? If the answer is yes, there's something your doctor may not have brought up yet. And I think you deserve to know it. Diuretics work by helping your kidneys flush excess fluid from your body. Less fluid volume, lower pressure. They're effective widely prescribed, and for many people, absolutely necessary. But here's the part most patients aren't told. When your kidneys flush the fluid, they also flush minerals, specifically magnesium. And magnesium is not a minor player in your heart's function. It regulates the electrical signals that control your heartbeat. It keeps your rhythm steady. It helps the heart muscle properly relax between beats. When magnesium levels drop quietly, and they can drop without any obvious symptoms, the heart becomes electrically unstable. The rhythm grows erratic. You might feel palpitations, skipped beats, or more serious arrhythmias. And because the morning is already the time of greatest cardiovascular stress, a magnesium deficiency tends to hit hardest right then. I have personally treated patients with chronic morning arrhythmias that resolved completely, once we identified and corrected a magnesium deficiency. It's more common than most people realize. If you're on a diuretic, the next time you see your doctor, ask them to check your magnesium level. It's a simple blood test. 2 minutes. That information could be genuinely invaluable for your heart. Don't assume everything is fine just because no one checked. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I exercise every morning. My doctor told me that was good for my heart. And your doctor is absolutely right. Exercise is one of the single best things you can do for your cardiovascular health at any age. I will never tell you to stop. But, and this is a significant but, timing and intensity in the morning matter far more than most people realize. In the morning, cortisol is elevated. Blood pressure is already higher than your resting baseline. Your blood is thicker. Your heart is already working harder than usual. Now imagine jumping straight into a vigorous workout in that state, no warm-up, just go. Your heart rate surges on top of an already elevated baseline. Blood pressure climbs further on top of an already elevated morning pressure. And your coronary arteries, already slightly constricted from that hormonal surge, are being asked to suddenly deliver far more blood to a working heart muscle. Research published in Circulation found that vigorous exertion in the early morning hours carries a meaningfully higher risk of triggering a cardiac event in adults over 60. Not a small or theoretical risk, a meaningful one. This doesn't mean don't exercise in the morning. It means don't sprint before you walk. Give your body 20 to 30 minutes to wake up, hydrate, and stabilize before you push any intensity. A gentle walk is perfect. Slow stretching is perfect. Save the harder effort for after your body has had time to properly shift into active mode. Ask yourself honestly, when you exercise in the morning, do you warm up first? Or do you just start? Tell me in the comments below. I read every one. Alright, you now understand why mornings are dangerous. Let's talk about what to actually do about it. Because knowledge without a plan is just anxiety. And I'm not here to frighten you. I'm here to give you something concrete. This is what I call the 5-minute morning protocol. No equipment, no cost, meaningful cardiovascular protection every single morning. Minute 1, conscious waking. When your alarm goes off, don't move yet. Stay exactly where you are. Take 3 slow, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the calming branch, before that cortisol surge peaks. 3 breaths. That's all. One of the most powerful tools you have for heart protection, and it's completely free. Minute 2, hydrate before you stand. Reach for that glass of water on your nightstand. Drink the whole thing room temperature before your feet touch the floor. This begins thinning your blood, reduces clotting risk, and gives your heart something to work with before the demands of the day begin. Minute 3, sit before you stand. Roll to your side, push yourself up gently, and sit on the edge of the bed. Don't rush it. Rotate your ankles 5 slow circles in each direction. This activates the muscle pump in your calves, helping push blood back up toward your heart. Minute 4, gentle movement. Still sitting, slowly roll your neck side to side. Shrug your shoulders. Stretch your arms up overhead. You're waking your muscles gradually, increasing circulation gently, and giving your heart rate a chance to rise at a pace it can actually manage. Minute 5, stand slowly. Place both feet flat on the floor. Press through your legs and rise at half your normal speed. Then stand still for 10 full seconds before you take your first step. Let your blood pressure confirm its new position before you start moving. 5 minutes. That's the entire protocol. And on the days you do this, your heart begins the day protected, not ambushed. I want you to sit with something for a moment. Everything I've described today is not rare. It's not exotic. This is happening in bedrooms across America every single morning. In homes just like yours. To people who feel completely fine, who have absolutely no idea. That's the part that never leaves me. After years as a cardiologist, the cases that stay with me are never the complicated ones. They're the preventable ones. The 70-year-old retired school principal who had a cardiac event getting out of bed on a quiet Tuesday morning. The 72-year-old grandfather who stepped into a cold shower and never walked back out. These were not sick people in the traditional sense. They were people who simply didn't have the information I'm sharing with you right now. And here is the most important thing I'll say in this entire video. The morning danger zone is real. The research is clear and consistent. But it is also one of the most manageable risks in cardiovascular medicine. Because unlike your genetics or decades of dietary history, your morning routine is something you can change today, this afternoon, before tomorrow's alarm goes off. You don't need a new prescription. You don't need a procedure. You need 5 minutes and the information you now have. Robert, the man from the beginning of this video, he recovered fully. He came back to see me about 4 months later. The first words out of his mouth were, "Why didn't anyone ever tell me this?" That question is a big part of why I do what I do. So let's bring it all together. Here are the 5 things I want you to remember and act on starting tomorrow morning. 1. Before you move, take 3 deep breaths. Let your nervous system ease out of sleep mode before your heart is asked to perform. 2. Drink a full glass of water before your feet touch the floor. Put that glass on your nightstand tonight. 3. Sit on the edge of the bed for a full minute before you stand. Rotate your ankles. Let your blood pressure settle before you do. 4. If you're on a diuretic, ask your doctor to check your magnesium at your next visit. 1 blood test. That's all it takes. 5. If you exercise in the morning, give your body at least 20 minutes to wake up before you raise the intensity. Walk before you run. Every time. Now here's my question for you, and I genuinely want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these habits are you already doing? And which one surprised you the most today? Those comments help me understand what to cover next. And I read every single one. If this video gave you something useful, please share it. Not for me, for someone in your life who's doing exactly what I described every single morning without knowing the risk. They may not know they need this yet, but you do. That's exactly why you're here. Take care of your heart. It has been working for you every single minute of every single day without asking for a thing in return. Give it 5 good minutes in the morning. It's more than a fair trade. And it starts tomorrow. One final note. Everything I've shared today is grounded in published cardiovascular research and clinical practice. But your situation is unique to you. Before making any changes to your medications, exercise habits, or morning routine, please speak with your own physician. They know your history. This is education, not a prescription. Use it as a starting point for that conversation. I'm Dr. Adriana Markson. I'll see you in the next one.